Hello everyone and welcome back to another drawing tutorial. And in today's tutorial we're going over some more simple poses for your anime and manga characters. So, this time I am going to make a smug looking pose. So we're going to have our character, I'm going to kind of draw it off this side and reposition it later, but for right now just make sure I have enough room. I'm going to draw a circle for our head, along with a center line so I can balance stuff off of it. Super simple jawline here. Oops. Something like that. From there, so this character isn't leaning forward towards us, but you'll see in the finished product that her hands are going to be up like on her hips. So we'll actually angle our collar lines here, like our shoulder lines, up a little bit. So even though she's not leaned forward, they're still going to be leaned up. Bring this head down a little bit, like so. From there, we want to add in our ribs. Just kind of a teardrop shape, like so. Then we'll add the rib marks here where the ribs end. From there, we'll put our shoulders kind of in the middle of these lines so they're raised up even further. My head got repositioned on me, so I'll do that. Then shrinking it, moved it back, so somewhere in there. So now what we're going to do is we'll add a line for our hips, kind of like what we normally do. Same sort of steps, and we'll have these about as wide as the shoulders again, just to kind of exaggerate an hourglass figure. Then we'll swoop our hips up, with kind of a little point out here. Trying to keep them somewhat symmetrical. Then we can just mark out. All this is unmovable because this is just bone. So we'll have this. I'll kind of tidy this up just so we can all see what's going on a little bit easier. From there. So now what we'll do is, following this sort of rib cage, we'll come in and connect with this sort of shape here, just giving her kind of a pinched waistline, like so. Add our belly lines just so we know that they're there, like that. From there, what we want to do, and again, I have made this character too large. I want to show the entire body so you guys know what's going on. Alright, so this time, what we can do, if you have a ruler, well, yeah, if you have a ruler doing this traditionally, you can do that. For me, I'll just use a little ruler mark here, because I want to get just a perfectly flat line right here, because this is going to help us position how long the legs need to be, because this time our legs are going to be coming out to the side a little bit. We want our character looking smug right now, so they're going to have a kind of victory pose here. And then again, we're just kind of in the middle portion of our leg bone placeholder. We'll have the knees. So then we'll just connect like we always do. Inside line is going to swoop in, jut out, and then kind of swoop back in, like so. the thighs are the thickest, kind of in these areas here for our female characters. So we'll just kind of round this, suck it back in. So these thighs are kind of getting too big. So I'm going to shrink them down just a little bit. Like so. And we'll have our little knee holders. Like so. And then from here, because of the angle of our character and with her legs out there, we'll actually have a little inside bump here and a thicker one out on this side. Like so. That I'm going to, there we go. It was the inside part that was a little bit thicker than what I would like for this character. Like so. There we go. And then again, I'm going to have super simple foot placeholders here. Like this. And then we will just barely see the base of the glutes connecting back up. Alright, from there, again, we want our character to be standing smugly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a third line here. And this is basically just coming through this section of our ribs. And this will help us see where the elbow joint needs to be. And then we just want to, just from there, I think it actually needs to be a little bit up higher. So again, that line's just a guideline to help us see what needs to be done here. It doesn't have to be perfect. So we'll put our elbows right there, along with our wrist. Now, she's got a bent arm, so what we're going to do is we're going to follow our sort of shoulder line here, and we'll point this elbow in like so. And we'll just connect it like this with a simple hand placeholder. Like so. So we just basically want this outside line to pop into our elbow. And then the forearm will meet the bicep here and kind of curve. So we'll bring this elbow up a little bit though. Like so. And we basically want it to be thickest right here, and then it slowly works its way, sort of tapers off into the wrist. And then from there, we can add our lats on our character, along with the armpit. So we'll have like a swooping shape for the armpit. We'll come over here, do the same thing. Oops. Like this. And again, thick right here at this sort of joint, and then tapering off into our simple hand placeholders. Just because we want our character to kind of be standing smugly. Then we'll put in the little lats right there. Put in our breast line. so we know where the chest is falling. Put in our breast shapes there. Try to keep these somewhat symmetrical though. There we go. Now, because her hands are up on her hips and it's pushing her shoulders up, we're going to follow this shoulder circle down in the collarbone. So this collarbone is giving me issues here. So we'll kind of swoop it up like that. And then from there, we can add our neck. And our neck will be normal shape like this. But because the shoulders are up, the traps are pulling them up. So our traps, instead of having sort of shallow traps like we have over here, instead our traps are gonna be a little bit thicker because they're pulling everything up. So from there, I'm gonna just exaggerate this hourglass shape like so. Make this a little bit bigger. And then, just for the sake of filling my page, I'm going to enlarge this whole thing. Like so. And I'll keep her real close to my previous one, so she's out of the way for the next one that I'm going to do. Alright, so from here, I'll just work on the line art. Again, I'm not concerned about the quality of my lines here. So I'm not going to work on multiple layers and worry about line weight. I'm just dropping this in. We'll add ears, which I forgot to add in the construction line portion, but that's okay. We basically know how to draw the ear shape, so we'll just do that. From there, poke in our nose. We'll give her a sort of V-shaped smile, so it helps with the smugness. Drop in our necklines, the little tendons. From there, again, I like to just follow this pit into the chest. This one kind of got a weird shape though. A little bit better. There we go. I gotta bring this one in a little bit more. There we go. Then from there, I guess we can do the arms next. Add a little bend there. Basically trying to just figure out what feels right to get some clean lines through here. So whatever is easiest. So basically, like, since my hands are stacked on top of the hips, I kind of want to put them in before I put my hips in, just because then I don't have to erase a bunch of hip lines. And then from there, do this. Try to get this shoulder rounded a little bit. Like so. And do our simple hand shape. Like so. Then we can add in our lats and our little arm bump in the pit there. Just like that. Then we'll connect with the traps, which are nice and high because they're holding our shoulders up. Like that. From there, we'll put in our sides, along with our belly. Then we can put in the base of our hips, followed by our legs. And again, I like still just connecting that knee with the inside leg mark. And then I'll put in the glutes right there, which they're not going to really connect and then come over, because since her legs are being spread out a little bit, the glutes are going to be pulled slightly apart there at the base, so we don't need to connect them. And we'll put in our hip marks here, and then give her some thighs like this. Okay, this one's looking crazy. Okay, there we go, better. Alright, and then from here, again, because with the angle of her leg, rather than keeping this line kind of straight like that, we're gonna bump it out a little bit to show the calf. And same with over here. Although this one is still a little bit bigger. Just trying to keep it somewhat symmetrical. There we go, that's better. And then from here, we'll put in our simple foot shape, like this. There we go. Okay, so, put in this little marks here, tighten this up. Guess this stomach line was thrown in a little bit too haphazardly, but there we go. So that's basically the pose that we're looking for here. The hands can be in any pose there on the hips. She could be holding her hips, they could be kind of behind, you know, whatever you're looking for. Again, I'm not doing a hand or foot tutorial right now, so I was just trying to put in some placeholders, but this pose is just a little bit more of like our smug character, sort of gloating, or you know, rather pleased with themselves if they just did something, you know, that they like, who knows. But either way, they're sort of just, you know, gloating over us. So hopefully you found this tutorial helpful, and that this is a interesting pose to you, and one that will be helpful for you. But either way, I hope to see you in the next one.